As the chorus of angry voices grows louder over Oklahoma's ongoing swarms of earthquakes, a deal has been struck that may provide scientists with valuable new information about the dynamics behind the temblors. It's a deal the Corporation Commission made with Sandridge Energy, which had been refusing commission orders to shut down some injection wells.
The angry voices were aimed at the legislature, the governor, and state agencies during a public hearing inside the state capitol.
And one last follow-up question. This is to Governor Mary Fallin. What is so important that you can't be here today to address questions?
Later, in a written statement, a spokesman for Governor Fallin said she spent the day conducting the state's business and was focused on the state economy. The statement adds, the governor is not just talking about earthquakes, she continues to work on finding solutions. And there is no need for the governor to intervene at this time. Emily Pope and her family recently moved from Maryland to Edmond, Oklahoma, learning of earthquakes only after her home began shaking violently. She is now an activist with a Facebook page, Stop Oklahoma's Earthquakes.
I grew up in Maryland, spent my whole life in Maryland. People in Maryland don't put up with this, right? So in Maryland, when people trash the Chesapeake Bay, we prosecute them. And so I am just completely in awe over the fact that people have not been prosecuted yet, and I think it's time for that to change.
Julie Allison, an Edmond resident whose home has been damaged by the quakes, says the people of Oklahoma need to realize there's a very big repair bill that is growing across the state, and it's taxpayers who will have to pay it.
The city of Edmond, all of their public offices, the fire, the police, the animal, those buildings have suffered damage. Other buildings, state buildings, local buildings, taxpayer dollars that they pay have suffered damages. Who is going to pay for that?
State Insurance Commissioner John Doak found himself peppered with questions from upset homeowners over earthquake insurance policies that are basically worthless.
Why should individual homeowners be expected to buy earthquake insurance, and why are not the entities that are responsible for the earthquakes paying for our insurance and also paying for the damage?
The extraordinarily high denial rate over earthquake-related claims, something like a 90% denial rate. And it would be useful for us to know how to avoid denial.
So we're monitoring complaint levels now, and we're going to monitor that weekly relative to anyone that has claims, and we'll work on that on a case-by-case, individual basis. And if
Doak has set up a toll-free hotline number, 1-800-522-0071, for anyone who has questions or complaints against their insurance company over earthquake damage. While the public hearing was underway, a deal was being made across the street from the state capitol that holds potential to much better understand the dynamics that set off Oklahoma quakes. The deal came in a compromise that has ended a month-long standoff between the Corporation Commission and Sandridge Energy. Last month, the commission ordered Sandridge to shut down a number of injection wells and reduce injection volumes at 40 others from 25 to 50%. Sandridge refused to obey the order, setting up a fight over the commission's actual authority over injection operators. All current commission orders seek voluntary compliance. At issue is the area around Medford and Cherokee, and the oil field known as the Mississippi Lime. It produces more wastewater than any other oil production site in the state. It has also become the most earthquake-active area of Oklahoma. Sandridge has now agreed to reduce volumes on 32 wells, with injection volumes being cut between 5 to 86%. 7 more wells will be shut down completely. The agreement calls for Sandridge to reduce its daily injection volumes in the area by a total of 191,327 barrels a day by the end of April. But Sandridge also agreed to turn over several of those shut-down wells to scientists for some much-needed research.
But it will provide a look underground that, as far as I know, no one's ever had that kind of access anywhere in the U.S.
Oklahoma Geological Survey hydrogeologist Dr. Kyle Murray, during an interview with ONR last month, talked about conducting just such research and the value it would have for scientists.
Fundamental fluid mechanics type of data is what we would be collecting. You don't know where the fluids go unless you know where the high pressure is versus the low pressure.
That is information that would answer a question many Oklahomans have been asking for some time.
And then we could all understand if you injected a well that's in the vicinity of our monitoring points, what direction it might go, and why. We could explain the why.
Meanwhile, Commission staff continues to work on a new regional plan that will possibly involve hundreds of injection wells in an order that will have widespread impact on oil and gas operations across parts of northern and central Oklahoma.